Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Today we're going to make a cake. What cake? Yes, that's the name of the cake, is what cake, because it won't last long. You'll be thinking, or your guests will be thinking, what cake? Because the cake will be gone. It's a really simple cake, very easy to make. Pretty much your staples that you would have at home. You should have everything you need to make it with. Very simple. This cake, I'll read the ingredients. 1 cup of oatmeal, a half a cup of butter cut into pieces, just so that it makes it melt easier. 1½ cups of boiling water, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, a ½ teaspoon of salt, 1½ cups of flour. Any kind of flour you want to use is fine. 1 cup of, it says sugar. I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of honey, and 1 cup of brown sugar, well packed, and 2 eggs beaten. And it's going to make a 9 by 13. This is a good one to make in the summertime. It doesn't take very long for it to bake. You bake it at 375 for about 25 minutes, and then I'll show you the topping that you make for this cake. So I have my oats already in my bowl. Don't know how well y'all can see. So you want to put the boiling hot water in there and the butter. And that's going to help the oatmeal to swell up. And you can use whole oats or the other oats, the quick oats. So I already have the butter. It's in a 1 cup measuring cup. It looks like it's 1 cup, but it's only a ½ a cup. I've already got it all cut up into smaller pieces. And you just want to mix it around until the butter melts. Of course, I don't want to leave any butter in there because you know butter makes everything better. Alright, just stir it around. It's going to help the oatmeal to swell up and the butter to melt. Right, now you want to add your 1 teaspoon of baking soda. One and a half teaspoons of cinnamon. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Give that a stir. Mix everything up really good. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, now we're going to add our flour, 1.5 cups of flour. And then next it says to add our sugar, brown sugar, and you can use white sugar. That would be 1 cup of the brown sugar, 1 cup of regular sugar, or you could use 3/4 of a cup of honey. Go ahead and mix that in too. I know they have those little scrapers that's supposed to get every little midget out, but to me that's just more aggravation to wash more stuff. So I just use a spoon. Alright, we're going to give this a really good mix. I guess you could use a mixer if you wanted to. With this cake, it just seems to do easier just to mix it by hand. It makes a really thick batter. It's kind of like a heavy cake. It just tastes like a really good old-fashioned cake. It's really a good cake. Some people would think oatmeal in a cake sounds kind of weird, but you don't even know it's in there. It's really good. It's very similar to like an applesauce type cake. If anyone's ever made an applesauce cake, it reminds me of fall with all the cinnamon in it. Alright, now we're going to do 2 large eggs beaten. I know y'all can't see it, but my little dog is right here by my feet waiting for something to hit the ground. Trying to trick me around. Got a fork. Just going to beat the eggs a little bit before I mix them into the batter. Go ahead and put that in your batter. And then you're going to beat it with the spoon or the mixer. You don't overbeat it like some cakes. I'm sorry, y'all. I have to clean up as I go. My kitchen is small. So you just want to mix it really good. And it's not one of those cakes that you have to mix it and beat it for like 2 minutes. You just want to mix everything up really good. And then have you a 9 by 13 pan prepared. I oil it and then put flour in it and shake it all around the bottom of the pan. You could use pan spray or whatever you want to use in it. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn my oven on to 350. I have my pan right here ready for me. 9 by 13, oiled and floured. And I'm pretty sure it's mixed up well enough. Just going to pour it in the pan, stick it in the oven, and then we're going to move you around a little bit so you can see how I make the topping. I'm trying not to drop this glass bowl. I will drop it occasionally. Alright, it spreads out pretty much by itself. I guess y'all can probably see this. I'm going to stick it in the oven and then move y'all closer to the stove when I make the topping. Alright, let's get started on our topping. We're going to need about 6 tablespoons of butter. I like to just chop it up in smaller pieces so that it melts quicker. Which I think is kind of funny. If you have a stick of butter, you have 8 tablespoons. So it's very tempting to just go ahead and use the whole thing. We'll go ahead and get our butter in there. Gonna get 2 tablespoons of milk. Go ahead and pour that in there. Go ahead and get your fire going. Turn it on to about medium till you get the butter melted. It's going to take a minute to get the butter going. As soon as the butter starts melting, go ahead and add 3/4 cup of brown sugar. I forgot to read the ingredients. Let me do that real quick. For the topping, 3/4 cup of butter, 2 tablespoons of milk, 6 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of coconut. I use the unsweetened organic coconut. You could use sweetened or unsweetened. First thing we're going to do is put the butter and the milk in the pan. Let the butter melt a little bit. As soon as the butter starts getting soft, we're going to go ahead and add that 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Alright, we're ready for our sugar. You want to let this get really, really hot. Bring it to a boil. And once it boils, you want to boil it for about a minute. Go ahead and turn our fire up just a little bit. Once this comes to a boil, you let it go for about a minute. This is going to kind of make one of those toppings like on a German cake, which is really, really delicious. Alright, we about got it up to a boil. I'll watch my timer for 1 minute. And after we get this done for the 1 minute, we're going to add our coconut, and you use about 1 cup of coconut. Alright, we're ready for our coconut. Go ahead and cut the fire off. Add your coconut. Stir it up really good. And now your topping is ready, just that quick, for whenever your cake comes out the oven. So I will get right back to y'all. Let me see if I can show you the topping. It's going to thicken as it cools. So I'm just going to leave it sitting here on the burner, and it'll finish cooling off while the cake is in the oven cooking. And then I'll be right back and show you how it looks on the cake in the very last step. Alright, the timer's just about to go off. Let's pull this cake out the oven. Set it up there. Hope y'all can see it real good. Let's do our toothpick check. Make sure it comes off clean. And we are good. Got the timer off. Now we're going to put our oven on broil. If I can remember how to do it. And we're going to put our topping on top of the cake. Just kind of spread it around however you can. And go back and we'll flatten it out. Do it while the cake is hot. Just try to get it as easy as you can. It's not going to be completely covered. You just want to spread it around a little bit. Then you're going to stick it back in the oven on the broil setting. And you're just going to let the little coconuts get a little toasty on top. Then let the cake cool off for probably about 20 minutes if you can wait that long. And you'll be ready for some good wet cake. Right, I'm going to just stick this in the oven and we'll be right back. Alright, the cake's been under the broiler for about a minute and a half. All the coconut is nice and toasty. Over here so y'all can see it. Now the cake is going to have to cool off for about a half an hour, 20 to 30 minutes, and that's all there is to the little cake. Very simple, easy to make, pretty healthy. It's got oatmeal in it and coconut. If you're looking for a different kind of cake and you're just not really wanting a traditional box cake from the store, look through some of your old recipe books. I listed the ingredients. Give it a try. This cake is really good. My dad would smell me cooking a cake. He would come over and then move the cake out of the way and say, I tell him, hey Daddy, we got a cake baking in the oven. It'll be ready in a few minutes. And he would move it out the way and say, what cake? And we would just laugh because that's the name of the cake, the what cake. So farewell, Homestead family, friends and neighbors, and if you haven't subscribed yet or liked or comment, feel free to do so. It's free to subscribe, like, and share, and leave me a friendly comment. So farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.